Okay, it's time to start. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Today, we are going to talk about agentic AI and 6G mobile communication convergence. So this webinar will be recorded and shared. And I already shared this presentation slide. And also shared the handout for related to this topic already in my LinkedIn site and through the email. So I assume they already have these materials. And then I briefly go over the today's topic and then have a time to maybe discuss with attendees about this hot topic. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about today is three aspects of two the most current state-of-art innovation that we're going to do over the next decade. And this is the AI, mostly agentic AI and sixth generation communication, telecommunication. And so we're going to discuss about in three aspects, innovation, standardization, and IP strategy. So we are going to go over what the status in mobile telecommunication area in starting from 4G and up to the 5G and 6G. And we're going to talk about the agentic AI for sixth generation telecommunication. And we're going to talk about in a reverse way, agentic AI for the in the 6G area. So what the 6G can enable that is not possible in the current 5G network through the agentic AI. And we are going to talk about the sensation in 6G and agentic area, kind of like the what will be the difference in the compared to the previous generation and IP strategy and standardization patterns, related topics. So briefly, just to introduce my background, how I got this topic, and then what my expertise and experience to support this kind of like a topic that I can talk about it. So personally, I've been in 30 years in tech industry and after my PhD. And my first job at a short time in the university faculty job that I moved into Korean government. And then became an officer at the Korean government, the Korean government, the division was they take over the telecommunication. So I most of my job is supporting as a is as a technical background to supporting the government deployment of mobile communication and other kind of like telecommunication um, area. So I at the time as the South Korea was deploying the second generation, they call Qualcomm CDMA. So my career starting from second generation and then moving to 3Z at the time they call IMT 2000. And I also like to working in other kind of like the wireless communication area. So so-called like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and other kind of like fixed communication, including that other like high-speed internet. So I witnessed that at the time the the coming of the new telecommunication area also like as a government officer. So I participate in the international standardization body like ITU and ETSI to in a like supporting the Korean telecommunication industry. And after that, I had a intensive experience with interaction with the Korean telecommunication area and other the related area like ubiquitous computing and mobile computing kind of area, like the Internet of Things was my topic at the time. And then I moved into the United States, and then I create changes from the like innovator and then the government officer to like a policy, strategy, and innovation and business side to I became a patent attorney in the United States. So my first job was to actually to relate to they call standard access patent for the 4G LTE communication. So heavily focus on my work on IP area. And then over the 10 years, actually, I focused on most of the digital technology, but particularly AI from the starting, from the like machine learning area to deep learning and recent like large language model, and mostly focused on recently about agentic AI. So I witnessed everything up to 5G and agentic AI through their history. I participate in innovation and IP. So I think that it's good time to I think that the time to look at the what we have done and then what it be will coming out, right? Because usually I follow the all the emerging technology area. So that as you know that the we already done, I will be the review that here through the Fuzi. So and then in the LT was year 2009. Actually, I studied my own business at the time and analyzing LT standardized patterns, and then deploy that and then successfully deploy. And then you may know that there is it's the overlap with the time of the smartphone boom, right? And that there was a lot of debate about the standardized pattern over, and then so I was in that like a very active community and participated is using my uh, expertise as an innovator, standard, and IP. And then and then at the time, actually, they develop a lot of the like fundamental things that can be like a booming of the smartphone, usually through the app type. And then at the time, actually, the AI through the top layer in the starting. And then 5Z, the area coming. So they promise more like utilizing millimeter wave and utilizing different type of the like air interface technology like MIMO, massive MIMO, and other technology to it at this time they targeting not just a smartphone but actually in the vertical area. So you know that there is a kind of like connected car that the nearly like a 50% of the current manufactured car already linked to the 5Z, and then previously 4Z is very widespread. And also like the industrial application, edge computing, and IoT, and then also like OTT, kind of like that high broadband communication started. And then there was a lot of the even in IP space, there was a lot of the like activities was going on. And then so we are nearly finishing up these standard activities. So in the starting from release 15. So we are now in early stage of 18. In 18 they usually call 5Z advanced. And then we are waiting for 6G, right? So that's why that a lot of the like telecommunication companies, like we know about, like the manufacturers like Ericsson, Nokia, Samsung, LG, and other company like Chinese Huawei, GT, they all now preparing 6G. And so there are a lot of the like activities is just starting, including standard, and then as tools that this is area like a AI native kind of thing. So it is somewhat different AI lore It'll be different from that you have seen in 5Z and 4Z. So this is a good time to look at that in a viewpoint of the AI and 6G in integrate way. So that's why I choose topic as convergence. So I try to do a deep dive into the current status and what are becoming. So first I will look at the agentic AI for 6G. So what kind of the agentic AI can change the 6G compared to the 5Z or 4Z that that the agentic AI that fundamentally is AI but more human-like. So if people like if there is a lot of activities that they want to develop like the artificial more general type of the artificial general intelligence type, right? They try to develop completely mimic the human, but before that, actually, in the current state of art is agentic AI that actually they can kind of like think and perceive and understand and use tools, knowledge, and memory and reasoning and then decide. So that whole cycle is very similar to what the human doing in a like a cognitive way. So that's why that AI will be moving to agentic AI. Then if you are in the AI space, actually this terminology is starting 2 years ago, and then grow in the like a get attention. And then starting from last year, that actually there was a booming in this area, very big giant, like every big giant in AI produce their own agentic AI and producing their product utilizing this concept, right? So you now use everyday ChatGPT. ChatGPT has also this function, right? And so like you have a separate one, like a deep research is also like agentic AI type. So it's very common now. So it'll be the current like a state of art, and then we've been moving to more like a more advanced, more intelligence way. Will be expect over the years. So this is the one actually can be also like a significant change in what we have done in mobile telecommunication area. So it says that it's not optional now, right? It will be essential. And for the survivor means that in the economic, like in the future digital economy, like whether you are the telecom operator or the manufacturer or the application for this kind of like network, it'll be agentic AI will be the necessary component you should be to have it, and then so it's a good time to look at this topic more in the deeper level. And so also you can think about that agentic AI is already moving to pilot to deployment. Because for example, is the one that Huawei in Chinese manufacturer have some pilot about implementing agentic AI. And then in the recent more and more years, like for example, Samsung also have activities, Nokia, Ericsson, and Qualcomm, and other companies are now looking at this space, right? So you can think about like even this kind of like activity will be kind of like the company's nature, right? Because usually AI means for the big giant, like a big software company, like Microsoft, like a Google, Apple, right? But now it'll be turned to like naturally merging into the network capability. So like a traditional, they defined by the telecommunication company will be has a huge amount of the expertise required to adopting this to their traditional innovation side. So the nature of the component of the company will be changes, and then doing the R&D and then innovation, it will be changing, and then and accordingly the IP also will be changing. That's my expectation. Okay, so what will be in the future that because the 60 is a very early stage, right? It's just starting. And then also like agentic AI is also very early stage. So how they can be integrated will be very difficult topic, and then we need to do, right? But actually the we can think about like 6G probably the digital nervous system. Because it's kind of like a AI native. So AI is naturally a natural component of the 6G, right? So it can be like the what you think about in agentic AI is predictive, autonomous, and adaptive by design will be the very common kind of terms we will be having in this area. Okay, so and then we can think about like what kind of like a new kind of like the agentic AI will be implemented in the traditional telecommunication area. Will be you can think about like in the planning and the control, trust, service, and ecosystem way. Actually, they can be integrated with this kind of like agentic AI in all layer of the telecommunication architecture, right? So they can be we call like intelligent ecosystem manage itself. So self-healing, self-managing, the autonomous way to like a very intelligent network to provide the best service targeting. And so this will be the situation in near future. And then also we can think about like the agentic AI will be naturally related to completely different the network, telecommunication network, right? Because resilience, efficient, agile, and scalable infrastructure. And then we can have some kind of like terminology, planetary scale autonomy. It's a global level, and the planetary scale autonomy will be show up. And then we can think about it in a reverse way, right? Because it's agentic AI will be do change the 6G, but also 6G also change the agentic AI. So it's kind of like a new paradigm, right? So you can think about like traditional AI is reactive, but agentic AI is it's kind of like a more adaptive, collaborate, right? So to do that is more work can be done by the agentic AI. We need a new network, new communication medium, particularly the envision in the future that a lot of people already has initiative. For example, that I participated recently in MIT initiative of the Internet of AI agent, right? It's like Internet of Things, right? Because in the IoT and it's kind of like IO like AI agent, right? Because they connect the agent over the globally connect, right? And then they communicate, interact. Another way you can think about it's kind of like the collaborate way to like the intelligence, right? And then to enable they interact in a like nearly in a second, right? They need to collaborate, right? We need a new different type of network, and then and especially if it is like for example in the mobile communication area, right? Because you need to move and kind of like during the interface, right? And then we need a more different type of the mobile network require. That's why that we need a 6G to enable like agentic AI network, globally. And then so there was like the country the we can supporting the kind of vision, right? So we need some new type of the communications, and then here is talk about what kind of like a function and features that 60 can provide through that can support this agentic AI. And also like this is a feature that low latency, sub-millisecond per second. And the most notable feature that we discuss about it, integrated sensing and communication, right? And then so a little bit it'll be like a sensor network. So in the at the end, it's like a human like a touch, right? Because if you want to think, right, you need to sense something, right? Is whether it's a touch or it is a hearing, see, or the tasting, whatever. We need a sense, right? So integrated sensing and communication is a natural integrated into the 6G. And as the AI integration and semantic API is a good to think about it. So it's a very early stage, but we can think about it's already discussing in the many different type of the research in a different layers of global organization and the local organization. So it'll be coming over the year, but here is we can think about it'll be ubiquitous autonomy and resolving today's bottleneck by embedding sensing, reliability, and semantic into network fabric. So this will be the the agent AI can actually that enabled by this new type of the network. So, the what is coming that it will be changing society and enabling autonomy and planning scale. So we can expect a completely different vertical layers of the application, new business model, new economic model will be coming up. So this is the one we are studying. So we need to think about it. And then so how they actually integrate is how they converse, and then they can be each other in a feedback loop and then enhancing each other, right? It's a vicious kind of like a good like a vicious cycle that actually they can be more like boosting each other's like a capability, right? In a good direction. So for example, a smart network empower agent and it make a reliable sensing semantic at edge computing enhance economy, like in autonomy. And then it'll be sense the feedback to the more capable agent demand more advanced network, right? And then in return they create a self-reinforcing cycle. So it'll be like a cycling and each other interact. So for example, we'll have a emergence of the planet scale intelligent fabric and adaptive ubiquitous in context where kind of like a new kind of things will be witnessed in the near future. Okay, so then what kind of like we look at the innovation side, and then what would be the standard, right? Because as I told you that this is before that actually the standardization mostly in the communication side, like usually air interface side, right? So usually focus on coverage latency, just communication, right? And then even there is some adding slicing as the early AI kind of like integration, but in the 60 is the AI native, right? It's different, right? So standard will now define how network think and act, right? Not just communication networking and it just pass over the data. So it's completely different way the approach require, right? So it's a holistic shift in standardization, embedding cognition and trust into the fabric of a global network. So there is some initiate already, right? So this is one summarize what she's doing is 3GPP, ITU, and ETSI, and regional alliance like for the next gen alliances in the US, Apple, and Europe, and other like continent have that kind of regional alliance. So AI trusted lifestyle control formalized into global telecom specification. So even the specification that we have seen, for example, we have a well organized like a set of specification. Like for example, I'm very expertise in standardization because I have a lot of working in is like standard essential pattern analysis, the mapping the claim to the specification. So usually you have a well set of like for example, like 100 kind of like a series and 200 is kind of like a, for example, physical layer, man layer, and link layer, and something like that, right? But then you have a like a size kind of specification and work required because of how to actually the natively AI can integrate in each layer of the specification with a completely different story, right? So my expectation is that, for example, the standard bodies are working is completely different because of the, for example, required expertise is somewhat different, right? So a traditional plus additional kind of the expertise and experience required in this space. Okay, so we can imagine like Samsung, Nokia, Ericsson, Huawei are working on this space. But my expectation is that not only the convergence through this technology, I think that the convergence of the like players, because for example, that Samsung is the the consumer electric and semiconductor the company, but they have a very reasonable number of the AI researchers in house, and also like Nokia, Ericsson, we have that. But traditionally, this area is more there is more powerful people are in other side, like software and AI focused company, like kind of like the for example that the Microsoft and Google and Apple and other company kind of like will be there will be like something they feel interest in the convergence of the economics, and then who knows, or they will be the key players in the even in the standardization activities. So my expectation is that 60 standardization will be different from 5Z because of this agentic AI involvement in the standard activities. And then so like in the particle market will be completely different, right? So there will be more like like if you have seen in the early steps of 5Z, and there was I saw a lot of reference talk about we'll have a completely different like particle industry because of 5Z, but actually the in reality that doesn't happen much. There is a more extended compared to full Z, but healthcare, then, well, I'm focused on healthcare recently for over 2 years. Not much except some few cases. Manufacturing, we talk about a lot of like Industry 4.0, but well, mobility, yeah, a little bit like for example in the in traditional like a telemetry kind of like a telematics kind of like application, and then mostly communication that the most of the automotive industry has this one, but still we need to wait a time to completely like we can like a BTX like a vehicle to vehicle and the vehicle to infrastructure communication is not fully grown, right? So we expect is more room to have this one, and even if defense safety and enterprise finance will be have a completely different vertical market will be forming if we truly implement succeed within a viable time, right? So this is one thing that standardization will be think about this vertical layer. Okay, so in even like the the standardization body, like a company and the standardization bodies looking at this space, right? So so it's a kind of like the standardization is not the traditional one because of this AI. So it's more like the convergence of point of technology policy, IP, and industry needs, right? So it'll be completely different that I might expect it. Okay, then finally, the IP strategy. And I have expertise in this space. Currently, I focus on this space in one way is actually as I told you that most of the for over 2 years my focus on agentic AI in healthcare. So I have the bunch of the innovation in utilizing agentic AI in healthcare, but based on my the innovation IP experience in healthcare, I found that the all of the topics that I have experience in as a generally as a IP and particularly standard essential patterns. And then I heavily working on before that, for example, like patent development and then licensing and litigation part. Actually, I work on that as an expert. But I just think about like if what if that actually if I apply the agentic AI and for all kind of like activities in IP space. So for example, the developing patent in the standardized pattern. For example, expecting what is coming up in the 5 year advance or 60, and then you can develop your IP based on that kind of expectation in earlier stage. And those like you can like manage your licensing using the agentic AI. And then recently I just published an article about like for example that the agentic AI kind of like powers the like a licensing scheme that I'm developing some model. I already some of the company actually the successfully is done. And then also like I working recently working on that the litigation intelligence that the agentic AI intelligence can be very mimic to the human like a patent and litigation expert, and then and it's supporting boosting that that space. So that's what I focus on. So I'm very familiar with this topic. And then I just think about this that what will happen that we have seen different innovation and standardization, and then what will be the IP space that it'll be the future. But based on my current understanding, then what will be the different? So so SAP is a standard as a pattern. So whatever your industry in relating to this 6G, then you need a product, what an operation of the your telecom or whatever, they are based on standard, right? Because your technology is standard. So so the actually the older product currently interoperable, right? So so that's a standard, and then standard as a pattern is the pattern actually the cover the standard. So there is no way alternative way to implementing the product like without violating the infringing this patent. That's a definition of the standards patent, right? But the difference is that because usually the SCP in up to 5Z is a communication layer. So usually I mentioned about like air interface and a core network space, mostly air interface. For example, 5Z we call new radio space. And then as I mentioned about the 100 series, 400 series, that there was the well-defined layer of the each like a mobile base station or kind of like a specification or the physical layer, main layer, and a link layer and an application layer. They were set up the standard specification, and then and the matter is how to actually interpreting your claim, and then and how to then map into like the specific part of the specification, and then there was a mandatory and then no way alternative way to actually implementing your product or your component without actually violating that the imprinting the claim term. That's the standardized pattern. So it's a very kind of like a straightforward, but a little bit situation will be different in succeed because of the involvement of AI. Because the still not defined yet, but how much actually the AI can be a standard component will be in the 5Z. Then most of the philosophy is that AI is open way actually the not specifically mentioned about what kind of like algorithm models can be used or something like that. Just generally say like AI ML model will be involved into something like that. So very like alternative or the optional component like, but I'm not sure in as a AI native nature of the 6G, the how much actually that can be specifically can 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 come into the space of the specification, right? The AI component. So a little bit depending on like standardization bodies activities, but my expectation in any at least there is something different, right? Because that's one that we have done before with different that we have expect in the 60 area. That's my experience. So you need to be prepared for that. Okay, so yeah, there will be the still the incumbent. Like I know that Ericsson, Nokia, Huawei, Samsung, they have a like a 60 standard innovation, and also like they have IP professionals preparing for that. But actually, I'm just doubt about whether they are well prepared for this. Yeah, they can prepare over the years, but you have something have a strategic way to approach, right? So the only kind of like a strategic approach company in the future will be winner, like in the dominate for this space. That's my expectation. And also like some niche party like Interdigital or Fino, actually they don't develop any product, right? They only innovate. So they only produce standard, and so they participate in the activities and then produce innovation, but they not participate in the product ecosystem, right? Because they just generate innovation and IP. So there will be the significant role because they are a little bit more adept. That's why my expectation compared to the like incumbent, they are small and targeting, right? For example, that Offiner, I personally focus on this company. The reason is that a lot of the professional in this company from the company that I know very well because I was one of the representing the LG Electric 4G LTE kind of like licensing in the United States. I was exclusive kind of like representing their business, and then I was one of the key person actually the participating, the analyzing their standardized patterns. So I'm very familiar with their professionals, and also like I have a very good relationship with all the IP centers. I'm still have a personally communicate with the former IP center like a director. I know about this company very well. And then I suddenly I found that Ofino hire a lot of the previous LG Electronic standard engineers. And then recently I found that look at it, they're preparing 6G, so they hire new do engineering in 6G and then hire IP person. And then I recently I analyzed their like 5Z like SAPs, and then I found it very high quality. So there will be very good position in 6G, more flexible and more focused on. So we'll see in the how they perform in the 6G. Okay, so there will be some new terminology I just generate. AI SAP. So this is some I want to differentiate for the traditional SAP like from the AI SAP will be the new terminology we can think of and then what kind of like old thing related to licensing litigation related to SAP, especially friend term, right? Because so we need to think of new terminology and in the global operation of that who will be the dominate, right? Who will be the leader of this space will be depending on how you control this AI part, right? In addition to your traditional SB part. So, so my expectation also like producing IP is another story, right? So they were kind of more precision, right? And then so like you have more and more like a pattern engineering kind of like a technical matters you need to think about in the like generating the SAP. Also, I think that there will be massive opportunity, new opportunity, challenges will be waiting in this space. And then my expectation is that will be that only those balancing breadth and then depth and influence and enforceability will be read, right? So I mentioned about is like a more flexible or the more like a focus on then actually the strategically you need to prepare for 6G. Okay, so I just hear that I just introduced that recently I just look at the new kind of like what kind of enable based on the 6G and agentic AI convergence, and then uh, many of you maybe know about the K-pop Demon Hunters, right? It's a very popular Netflix like animation. You know that all of their like songs and is in the high ranking chart in Billboard. And then recently they often in the traditional theater and there was a sing along and then there were a lot of the some economic kind of like analysts to talk about new phenomena, right? I also like look at this side and then I have a experience for I'm not sure whether you have experience in the space is about 2 years ago about the Mark Zuckerberg tried to launch kind of like a consumer level immersive space they call metaverse, right? I heavily work on that space also and utilizing virtual reality, augmented reality, like what we call like extended reality that to have it. I found that this is reinforcing that his envision was live because a new economy can be coming out, but his approaches was different because if you look at this one and is a human is like resonate with this culture and then there is a panic things so it's a they referencing what really needed in the technical side of the metaverse. So I just expect the metaverse will be benchmarking this one. They will be revived. And then I hope because I also have a lot of focus on this area over several years. So I just try to do have this one to have some my formal kind of like the community members and metaverse know that and recently that because the older people at the time was very invisible about the consumer level metaverse is gone and also like Mark Zuckerberg is just like a stop everything his effort and then recently he just like focus on the super intelligence driving AI. So I was very critical about that one. So I just have some my article and then I share my insight with some fears and I got some response, right? Anyway, so here is K-pop Demon Hunters. This is my article. I also like have a like in the future vision, what kind of like technologies can be integrated with this kind of new cultural kind of like economic factors to driving new economic part, right? So it's just fun, so you can look at it. And so like another thing with the then based on the 6G and agentic AI and new type of the like economic generation, like a cultural thing, and then just I just this is one actually that I collaborate with AI agent in ChatGPT. So usually that I call co-filer. So I co-file with the ChatGPT to expect provide all the information that I have it in the what will be coming in the agentic AI 6G convergence in a like 5 years later, like year 2033. And then based on current stock market and then look at their business model and then what will be the winner because this is one just so I just say like for example here's I just here is not Wall Street it's Wall Street journal because I just a hypothetical journal that produce year 2033 that who will be the winner right because will be changing right? So this was a fun to just like simulate this one and then this is one thing actually how the human can be collaborate the AI agent the agentic AI to producing something this is one example that I produce okay so I share everything that I want to talk with you. So I just want to discuss with you that because I think that I tried to shoot because I have a bunch of the different article, very long article about this one, but I think that it's a good time to have a link with peers in this community, have an interesting 6G and agentic AI and the convergence. And then I think that it's a starting point. There are very fantastic things that will be coming in the coming future kind thing. So I want to anyone have a comment or insight to share, then just do, right? Anyone can share your comment, insight, or whatever that relate to this topic. Anything will be welcome. Yeah. Yeah, Maha, can you talk? Yeah, yeah. So I can see that you're in chat to talk. Anyone can show up and talk about your things.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I'm Dr. Madiha from India,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm interested in I'm working on AI projects
Mm-hmm.
that can be used in healthcare for improving diagnostic and outcome of the patient. As I have recently followed you on LinkedIn, and your work is very appreciable, sir. So, as could you guide me, like what things I could do? I have some projects, but I just need some guidance. So, can you just help me with
I'm
guiding
not
me?
sure about because on that actually that I know about what we're targeting, what kind of the problem you're looking at it, right? I just have some share with my approach, right? Because for example, the over 2 years that based on my tech kind of like the background, I starting to like looking at all the aspect, different aspects of the healthcare, right? So I look at the whole of the like at least I have a look at the whole kind of like a field usually they call healthcare. For example, the center of healthcare is kind of doctor and patient relationship and the hospital, like the healthcare system, right? 'Cause so usually the term that you can think about in the space is kind of like, for example, you mentioned diagnostic, right? Screening, diagnostic, and treatment and prevention, kind of like and monitoring, right? Care, right? This is a care side, right? And also like you have a different side is supporting your health ecosystem. For example, drug, right? Because you need a medicine therapy. So there is like a therapy or the like a drug, kind of like a they call like pharmaceutical, biomedical or the biopharma or the life science space that they supporting through the fundamental research and fundamental developing of the supply to this care space. And another space will be they call like research side, usually clinical research, clinical trials they can do. And other side you can have a side thing like medical device side, and many kind of ecosystem integrate, right? And then I tried to do one by one that what the ecosystem doing, the component of ecosystem doing, and then I look at the innovation needed. So innovation starting from the problem. So I look at the like what kind of like challenges currently have in whole this healthcare ecosystem, and then because of the I was not in this space, I'm very like limited about like what the healthcare in the different level, for example, in the medicine space. So I initiate this kind of webinar series to have the connection with like a professional in this space. And fortunately, a lot of people contact me and we have a personal discussion. And so they share their challenges, problem. So, for example, mental health, I'm very expertise in the space. Even I've never been the mental health screening in my life because of they share their experience, their challenges, everything. And then based on that, actually, I just defined a well-defined problem, right? The starting point of innovation is to the pain in the neck and what is needed, right? It's a well-defined set of the problem, right? And then based on my technology, the background, and what kind of technology can solve this problem. And then you move into like other things, right? For example, in the medical space, right? Is not just technology can solve the problem, but actually whether it can be implemented in the healthcare system, right? So you need to think about like clinical trials and the FDA clearance, and then adoption to the like a traditional workflow, something like that, right? So 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 what you wanna do now is you need to first find out the kind of like what the kind of like a problem you wanna really want to solve, and then approach about if you want to do particularly think about you have a layer of the technology that different type of technologies can solve in a different way, right? So you choose that what kind of technology you want to apply to solve your problem, right? And then, for example, agentic AI is the most that I deeply involved recently. I have about like I'm not preparing one for the clinical trials, but I before I have agentic AI involved like seven. like a new innovation I've done, and I'm also like attorney, patent attorney, but I also like inventor. So I apply that kind of like new innovation, and I filed a seven patent based on that, and then also like based on that, actually, the implementing innovation, and then I implementing proof of concept of that. So if you want to apply agentic AI, then you need to understand kind of like what the agentic AI can do, right? So what they're like a nature, what kind of function feature they can do that actually can apply to your challenges, problem as a solution, right? And then you have a very good understanding of the what the agent AI can understand you or problem or whatever they call perception, right? Perceive, right? How can you do that? And then once you have a perception, understand the problem, then how to attack that? Actually, the how to actually you can think of a human mind, how you solve the problem, right? The same thing, right? 'Cause you like elaborate kind of like what kind of tools you use, what kind of information you use, what kind of knowledge you need, how to actually the workflow you think about in the thought flow, right? And then you come up with the final kind of solution idea and reasoning that which one will be better, right? And then laterally you decide how to do apply, implement, right? So you need to well set up the like structuring of the thinking about how to attack your problem, it will have it, and after that, actually, you need a good tool or do you hire engineer or whatever. So usually, I'm doing up to the point. I also like utilizing the existing agentic AI kind of like tools to develop the prototype before like a proof of concept type, and then I'm looking at the outside collaborator whether they're interested in collaborating with me and need engineers or whatever, right? So. It's depending on up to you, but this is I just share that of what I'm doing, and now I'm currently developing a lot of different type of the innovation using agentic AI, and then based on these rules, I was very successful up to now.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insight. It really helped me a lot. As now, as you said that I have to see the problem. Yes, I have saw the problem in diagnosis, like human errors are there, diagnosis, lack of the diagnosis delay is there. So for that, I can train LLMs, these models. Agentic AI is something very new to me, sir. I was a few days back. Also wanted to ask this question, sir. Should we learn coding, Python now, Java, but these all programming languages to learn more about AI?
No,
Because I want to train.
no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Because uh, it depending on like you wanna actually you want to implement for yourself, then you need to learn. But you know, because
Yeah.
the thing that I think of, you may have heard about recently there was a layoff of traditional like a software engineer, usually AI engineer in the Silicon Valley. Have you heard about that? The reason
Um,
the reason is because of the AI. Mostly, for
yes, yes.
example, that if you look at the ChatGPT type, like the based on large language model, right? For
Mm-hmm,
example, that I
mm-hmm,
have a good idea. I know
mm-hmm,
because of the reason I can tell you that I learn and then I apply and I coding, I compile, then I apply from my PhD, right? So
mm-hmm,
so for example, in my PhD, I code using the Fortran and C and C++. At the time, it was a dominant language, and then I write down my own code, right, for my PhD thesis topic, right? And then I compile it and learn it, right? And then at the time, actually, the I have a Spark station in my lab, and there was sometimes I need a supercomputer. At the time, there was a supercomputer computing lab operating, government operating, like research, like University of Illinois, just something like that. I utilizing computing power, but anyway, I need to do everything for myself, right? And after that, actually, that there was a good time, for example, like the Google Colab. Maybe you never heard about it, right? And then
yes,
at the
Kegel.
time, actually, I utilizing that. Before that, actually, I need to my own compiler, right? My own tool, right? So I need to everything that install them tool and then I learning the program, and then all kind of like application required and setting in my computer, right? Now what I can do is, well, you know about the code, then import it, and then you can learn in the code app, right? And it'll take up a lot of things to make your convenience. Even recently, I found that because, for example, recently I just back to the code app, I tried to have some demo using the like a Python code and then kind of like Colab learning for my agentic AI, some kind of like example model. And then I found that actually the even you have a initially you generate utilizing the general idea and then put in the ChatGPT and then developing Python code that can learn in the Google Colab, it generates you. It's working initially, but if you sort of compiling, you will find that they are not the complete free can learning in the code because of a lot of the kind of like Python utilizing open software and the day changing version and everything. You will experience like that. And then what happened actually during the compile, it make an error, right? And then usually that before was that Core itself has some version that actually that provided like how to resolve your error, right? But anyway, you need to resolve through your manual experience. What happened recently I experienced is that I just put in the error to my ChatGPT and ask about find out what the cause of the error. And then ChatGPT analyze, right? Just look at the correct he produced some error message. I put in the ChatGPT and then learn it and then find out oh I found something that there may be some problem with the version or whatever and then utilizing this one and then do you want me to make a core importable like a coding, yeah I say yes it produce and put it there but still generate and then for example one problem I up to the reach the running I have a 10 iteration but anyway the better way is I don't need to do manually right? I just put in error and ChatGPT analyze and give me the feedback and then retry right until and then the good thing is that anyway I found the solution. Right? So this is the one example that the future software engineer, AI engineer role will be different. Right? Before, if you can do coding, right, in your head, you will be higher. You don't need that because of the AI agent, like a ChatGPT. They can do it for you. What you need is a different idea, right? Different insight, different
Exactly.
knowledge.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yes, sir. Recently, I have been doing projects in retinopathy. I'm thinking of training LLM models. No, I'm not thinking, but I am training LLM models on a large scale with high definition quality images. But as I have seen, these researchers or these LLMs have been trained, maybe 3 to 4 years back, maybe 6 years back. So this is something people have done. I want to do something new and something different which can help the patients in early diagnosis. The earlier the diagnosis, the faster that we can implement the treatment. So, sir, as you are an expertise in digital health, um, and about agentic AI, um, could you tell me something like different or new that I can do in my field?
No, I cannot give you because that's your job, right? Right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm the part of the year like a project and I'm for example I have a co-pilot with you, then definitely I can think about it. I can be based on my knowledge and experience that I can collaborate. But for this webinar, that's not a good topic that I can discuss about it because I know about your intention, but maybe contact me in the personally, then we can discuss further, right? Because that's very
Yes.
specific and out of the like a topic from my main topic. Because we are talking about the future 60 and agentic AI integration, right? So, but anyway, I appreciate your participating and then share what you're doing. Yeah, yeah, that's one actually the next topic that I'm going to do. I will delve into very deep level, the current one, right? So I'm thinking about two webinar. And about the 4 weeks later is currently I'm working on is one is to like for example I'm doing the same thing to have a new innovation in clinical research. I found
Yes.
that the agentic AI is very good at like a researcher. right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
tested a lot of things, like a treatment and then diagnosis everything, and then I found the best performance can be done agentic current state of agentic AI in healthcare is research, right? Like a human researcher. So
Definitely.
I just co-filer with my AI agent. I developing new idea that this kind of I'm looking at the clinical research side and then like a co-filer with a human expert in the agentic AI. How can the innovate a new way to like doing clinical research? And then I'm going to like I'm done everything except like I'm developing demo. I'm going to find a pattern, and I'm thinking about demo day in the 4 weeks later. So I like that kind of topic. So I welcome you to like talk with me about in the personal layer, and then we can discuss further. Like and again, I'm very like to like for example that I'm really enjoy to attacking new problem. Right. So just contact me, then we can discuss further. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sir. I'll personally message you on LinkedIn, sir.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. I know this is something a different topic, but thank you so much. You took the time to talk something different on this platform. I would maybe I don't know. I just talked because I did not wanted the chance to miss talking this with you. And of course, sir, I have so many ideas in this clinical research area that if I would love to uh, collaborate with you or work with you, sir.
hmm
I'll message you personally on a LinkedIn, sir.
Okay. So in relation with I will stop in a second, right? Because with respect to agentic AI, the six convergence, I propose that I experience what the best performance agentic AI then because 60 research, right? Using agentic AI is one of the good topic.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Yes,
I'm very
definitely.
expertise doing that kind of thing, right? I already developing the tools to doing everything the patent attorney can do, patent like development, licensing, infringement kind of thing. So I found that they can be applied in any area, right? Experts can do, right? Research doing something. So anyone interested in you have in the 60 space and they want to the like developing new tools to co like a pilot with a human expert doing 60 innovation, just contact me. Okay. Thank you for attending today's webinar. So this webinar recording will share. Okay. So I hope to see you in my future webinar. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye.